Hey, Christian here. I want to talk today about what the best home business opportunity is. Is that something we can actually determine? Is it subjective? Does it depend on your emotions, how you feel about the marketing, how you feel about the product or the service? Does it depend on those things, or can we actually get to the bottom line um, through a process of considering a lot of different factors and actually figure out once and for all what the best home-based business is? I would submit to you that we can do that. Um, but before we even go into that, we have to talk about, what do you want? That's what could cause this to become a subjective process. So what do you want? Um, After 20 years of working in the home business space, my sense is that the huge majority are working for the same reason I get up and work. I'm in this game because I want residual income. I want permanent, or the closest thing I can possibly find to permanent, passive, monthly income. So if you agree with me that that's a reasonable position to operate from for a video like this, then that makes our job pretty simple. We can look at any company that isn't at least 15 or 20 years old and automatically rule them out, because you're taking your chances. Um, a recipe for a long-term residual income is not one where anybody would counsel you to go gamble. And that's essentially what you're doing in a company that's been around for anything less than 15 or 20 years. You just don't know if they're still going to be here tomorrow, let alone next year or 5 years from now. There just hasn't been enough time for us for those companies to develop patterns, statistics, and all those things that we would need to look at to judge a bottom line. Is this better than that? And so on. 20 years in home business for me was mostly spent chasing my tail. I worked with a lot of companies that were less than 20 years old. Over and over and over again, I built a multiple six-figure per month income with a company that was about 15 years old. It took a huge dive. The rules changed halfway through the game again and again. I've worked with just a lot of different companies. The first company I was in, I made hundreds of thousands of dollars, earned the second highest rank in the whole company, and about 13, 14 years into that business, they went bankrupt. And I was out in the cold having to start over. So I draw on, a lot of personal experience from this. My whole world, business-wise, has been network marketing, home business. So I draw also on my friends' experiences. I've had too many friends to count that have started over a dozen or more times in the past 20 years. So if you're watching this video and you've looked at some of my other stuff and you're going, I want the best, cleanest, simplest, straightest path to what I want. And if you agree with me that what you want is that long-term passive residual income, the kind of income where you work once, you get paid lots of times. That's kind of the cliche way to put it. The reality is I work with people a handful of times, coach them from beginner to this intermediate level to this leadership level where they know all the basics like the back of their hand. And this is something they can go execute every day. They just have to make the choice to go do the work. So in that regard, I don't work once. I work lots of times for a few months to build this basically endless stream of residual income. If that's really what you're looking for, you will not find it in almost any of the hot companies out there. A lot of the things that I see on social media all the time, it's mostly newbies, excited newbies. I love newbies, but it's mostly excited newbies out yapping about what the latest greatest thing is. and they harp on one or two reasons or a few reasons why they love it and why they're convinced it's going to make them $1 million. And that almost never happens. And times 100 almost never happens for residual income. I've made millions of dollars without having any real residual income to speak of. And it's nice to make the money, but what I'd rather do, what I would have always rather have done, is build my business one time, create relationships and friendships for the long haul, do this all once, and have this income that just won't quit. If the picture that I'm painting is attractive, message me. I'm not going to broadcast here what it is I do. I would suggest to you, though, that 20 years of personal experience and a lot of borrowed experience through a lot of friends that have made millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars working from home with various network marketing companies has led me to a point where I'm confident I've landed in a stable, long-term place that's safe, that's relevant for the everyday person. One other thing I'll throw out here before I wrap this up: if the business you're looking at isn't built for the, I'm gonna call it the little guy. So the world is made up of the 80-20 rule, and really I like to call it the 90-10 rule. About 10% will go produce results. They'll actually go build a business, they'll learn and take action, and about 90% just won't for whatever reason. So if you can find a business that's been around at least 20 years, that's built for the little guy, where the little guy doesn't get stepped on, doesn't get taken advantage of, doesn't get sucked emotionally into a scenario that he or she's going to be wanting out of in 90 to 120 days, which is a very typical cycle in network marketing. People will stick for 2, 3, 4 months before they go, you know what, this is piling up, this is stacking up, these charges are hitting me too frequently, I'm not doing anything with this, I'm out. If you have a business that's built for the little guy, then the 10%ers can really win, and they win without hurting the 90%ers. And this is my world. This is my new permanent home. I'm very excited about. So I'm happy to help you learn the basics, get your business going. If you are receiving this video in response to having pitched me, love entrepreneurs, love that spirit, love the spark. I hate to throw water on your fire, but I am not recruitable. I'm home. I'm not doing anything else. So that you understand, I don't have any side projects. I don't have any backdoor deals. Nobody's paying me for anything. I chose my home. I kind of planted my flag, so to speak, and that's what I'm doing. So if permanent long-term residual income is compelling and interesting, and that's what you're after, then you've landed in a good spot. I can lead you down that path. All right, I hope to see you around online.